area. It is noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, and we want to start on time. We have a fairly full presentation and want to make sure we get through it all and include your questions at the end. My name is Rich Binsacca from the Alliance, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today. I'd also like to introduce Betsy Scott from the Alliance to tell you a little bit about our organization. Betsy?
Thanks, Rich. Hi, I'm Betsy Scott. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Innovation Alliance. Just wanted to kick things off today by sharing a little bit of background on the organization. Our mission as a group is to foster collaborative insights and innovation in housing, both technical and business innovation, by bringing together some of the smartest people in different disciplines within the industry. And we wouldn't be able to do events like today without the support of our sponsors, so I wanted to make sure to thank these folks, some of whom are on the phone today as well, for making the Alliance program possible. But really the reason that we're doing this session today is a couple months ago we had our Innovation Summit in Denver, and we talked a lot about healthy homes, and that is an evolving opportunity in the housing industry, and marketing of healthy homes and risk management were two of the key things that people who attended were interested in digging into more deeply. So since then, Rich has done some work with the help of Nick Hurst, who you'll hear from in a moment as well, to share really kind of an update and some added information, and this will continue after the session today with other resources through our online portal for our members and potentially other sessions at upcoming events that we've got planned. So I'll turn the floor back over to Rich and Nick, but thank you both for putting together today's session, and look forward to getting great questions from you guys as the event moves along. Rich?
Great, thanks, Betsy. As I mentioned, I'm Rich Binsacca. I'm the Director and Chief Communicator for the Housing Innovation Alliance. And basically what that means is I get to go out and find cool stuff and then tell our community and other folks in the housing industry about it. So really happy to be in that position and to share what we've been able to find and believe we know about topical issues for the housing industry, this being one of them, as Betsy mentioned. I'd like to introduce Nick Hurst. Nick's the Environmental Protection Specialist for the EPA's Indoor Air Plus program. Nick, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. My background is in building. I did building and remodeling most of my life. Worked as a consultant for a while and did a little work within the university setting as well to talk about building codes. Worked in North Carolina for some time, kind of helping prop up the Energy Star homes builders down there, and then eventually came to EPA just this year, and am now running the EPA's Indoor Air Plus program. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great, thanks, Nick. And Nick was instrumental in not only helping us get good content and give us some good background for the summit the summit presentation that Betsy mentioned, but also in helping us get this program together. And he's got some great insights into what he's seeing among the, what is it now, Nick, about 1,500 builders that are engaged in the Indoor Air Plus program now, kind of what they're doing and how they're working with those builders.
Yep.
I want to mention, sorry, Nick.
Go ahead.
I want to mention real quickly, this is being recorded. This presentation is being recorded, and we will post it to our website and I believe on YouTube. So if for some reason you have to get off or you want to share it with someone on your team or anyone else, you can share that link with them, and they can watch this on their own when it's convenient for them. I wanted to go through the agenda very quickly. We will be talking about marketing a healthy home. As Betsy mentioned, that was a big topic at our summit when we had discussion on this and a presentation on this topic. And we'll go through kind of the big why. You know, why it's important to pay attention to, why builders have a role in this and what that role is. As I mentioned, Nick will go through some trends and some progress that he's seen through his relationship with the builders in your Air Plus program. We'll go a little deeper with some of those builders on what's working across a number of different segments: marketing, training, cost, occupant behavior, and risk management. We'll also talk about some lessons that they've learned and want to pass along, kind of a heads up to builders who are thinking about more actively getting into indoor air quality and comfort and health, whether through Indoor Air Plus or other means, just some lessons that they've learned. And then I want to talk a little bit about just the role of the suppliers and what building products manufacturers and their supply chain are doing to enable this, but also support it and in some cases drive it. As I mentioned, we'll have a Q&A session at the end, and then we'll go over some what next, some things that we'll do following this presentation. You are muted, so there is no way to kind of interject a question verbally, but certainly please use the questions tab on the dashboard that you have for GoToMeeting to enter a question. We will be keeping track, and we've got a lot of folks on this event, so I'm not sure we're going to get to every question, but we will be able to document all of them and hopefully provide some answers offline after the presentation. But please take advantage of that through the presentation. We may stop if there's a question that's particular to a certain segment of this presentation, and we'll stop and answer it, but mostly at the end. Okay, so let's talk about the big why. So healthy homes didn't start with tightening home structure or the fenestration, but it really, when we started doing that, when we started tightening up homes and buildings, it really kind of exposed and exacerbated that issue. And in addition, we spend more time indoors now. Socially, societally, we have more time at work, more time at home. We're just indoors about 90% of the time. And the indoor air is not, or has not been, particularly healthy. It's actually, by some estimates, 5 times more pollutants indoors than there are outdoors in the air. By that, we also have indoor pollutants, as I mentioned. There's maybe 100 more or 100 times more pollutants, including the outdoor, that's in our indoor environment. And that's across every price point, every market. Doesn't really matter, but we've kind of gotten to a point where as we build houses and we tighten them up, we've got more products, more things that have been off-gassing and providing some chemicals into and other pollutants into our indoor environment in our home. And somewhat with that, but in other cases as well, we've seen increasing rates of asthma, especially among children. And there's about 24 or so million children or million people in the U.S. that have asthma, and others that have chemical sensitivities and other allergies. More than 50 million Americans, in fact, suffer from allergies. And again, those are exacerbated in the indoor environment if you are not paying attention to indoor air quality. And all of that kind of rolls up to the EPA ranking indoor air pollution as the top 5 environmental danger. So clearly, EPA recognizes it as a problem, and it's something that builders, because of their role in producing new housing, have an important part to play in that. And we'll talk a lot about that. Something else that's driving it is that consumers want it, and they're willing to pay for it. And unlike what we went through with energy efficiency, where there was some debate about whether people were willing to pay for green or pay for energy efficiency, they certainly seem willing to pay for healthy aspects and healthy indoor air. And that, again, runs across all generations. So you can see the chart at the right from Dodge that came out in 2015. Over 80% in every age group are willing to pay something for better indoor air. And you'll see that, in varying degrees, how much more they're willing to pay, but generally that's a very positive sign for builders. I wanted to provide a little bit of perspective from folks that are in the know, that are watching this even more closely than we are. Again, talking about the demand from consumers, it's a strong purchase driver. Definitely consumers are more concerned and interested and educated about indoor air quality. There are, and we'll go through this a little bit more in depth later, there are affordable and healthier products that are in the mainstream and more as we go. And then important tip, and we'll talk about how builders can respond to this and how the builders we talk to respond to this, about how you market yourself as healthy, how you express that to home buyers and the general public about what you're doing. Now, it's one of the reasons all of those boiled up into having a session at our 2017 Innovation Summit in Denver, and why we're including this topic in our comfort and health knowledge area. We consider comfort and health to be the next performance standard in housing beyond energy efficiency, and we presented that through our portal, through our website, and at this Innovation Summit. And while the presentation focused mostly on indoor air quality, and this one does as well, comfort and health is a much broader subject. And in fact, when we talk to our program council, a group of builders and suppliers and other industry experts, including Nick, who are leading us down the path of comfort and health, we talk about issues of lighting and acoustics and wellness and pest control and radon control. All of that boils up into this comfort and health knowledge area and topic. I'm going to turn it over to Nick to talk about some trends and progress that he's seen in the field of indoor air quality and indoor environmental quality through the Indoor Air Plus program. Nick, take it away.
Sure thing. Thanks, Rich. If you're not familiar with Indoor Air Plus, just briefly, this is an EPA partnership and labeling program that's it's based on the Energy Star for New Homes program, and it outlines construction specifications that allow you to build a safer, healthier home based in building science fundamentals, and then to have that home verified by a third-party rater to ultimately earn the Indoor Air Plus label. And what we've heard from builder partners is that they do need tools to be able to help stand by their assertion that they're providing a better, safer, healthier home than their competition, and they need language to be able to communicate that to buyers. For the most part, marketing energy efficiency is fairly straightforward. There's some good metrics to do that, although it's certainly becoming harder as codes increase, and it seems that every builder out there is touting some flavor of energy efficiency. But we recognize marketing a healthy home is trickier. But a few of our leading Indoor Air Plus partners, some of whom Rich will be talking about a little bit later, have utilized this Indoor Air Plus sales training kit to help educate their sales team and develop a marketing approach that really gives them a significant edge in the market. So what this does is help them not only gain knowledge, but also create talking points on the features and benefits that come with the Indoor Air Plus program. And we talk about features and benefits a lot with sales agents and what the difference is between those things. We really want to help them communicate more effectively and start to build a value proposition on why they've taken this path. So what's included here, as you see on the screen, some sales training guides. There's also some handouts, and then there's a PowerPoint slide deck included as well that the sales lead can walk through. But what we try to tell builders is customizing your training to include specific features that you install is really important. And so having like a site supervisor or purchasing manager or even a home energy rater participate with you in that training is also very helpful to bring a little bit more of the technical aspect about what you're doing. Sales agents don't need to know all the details about the technical pieces, but giving them a flavor for that is helpful. And then we also say that repetition and role play are two really critical pieces of sales training. So just repeating starting at features and translating them to benefits, and then communicating that in a fairly succinct summary, a value proposition or elevator speech, and trying that out in a role play with some of your colleagues. Meritage Homes is one Indoor Air Plus partner that I know utilizes role play a lot and is very good at it in their sales and marketing techniques. So these are some resources that are free for all Indoor Air Plus partners. If you want to check them out, you can find them in your My Energy Star account. We've also heard some builders, express concern about offering their buyers a healthier home. And here's one way that the sales training helps to visually describe some of the benefits of Indoor Air Plus homes. You can build a home to minimum code there on the left, which is what you see in the majority of the market today. But you can also choose to make some design decisions that bring your clients a whole host of benefits, including comfort and value that come with energy efficiency, but then also the quality, the peace of mind, and the long-term health and safety features that Indoor Air Plus offers. And then when you add these design features up and ultimately apply the Indoor Air Plus label to the home, you deliver your customer a home that's has that comprehensive indoor air quality protection from the outset. Addressing some of those concerns about offering a healthier home and builders who say, well, what implicit guarantees am I making, and is this going to bite me later if I'm trying to market this? One of the newer resources that we've gotten really good feedback on from builders is this Discover Indoor Air Plus Homes booklet, and we like to call this risk mitigation through marketing with EPA resources. And these are again free resources. This is it's a handout. It's a square format, 8-inch by 8-inch booklet, 30 pages long, and you can add your company specific logo on the front and some information about yourself and throughout on various pages. And again, it's available in your My Energy Star account. But each layout here addresses an indoor air quality concern on the left side, and then on the right side it shows how Indoor Air Plus helps address those key issues that your buyers are probably concerned about, whether it's mold, allergens, radon, formaldehyde, VOCs. They're all kind of included in there as potential risks and why Indoor Air Plus matters. And then the centerfold features an Indoor Air Plus certificate, which should go with every home, and again that emphasis on third-party verification with a rater. So sales agents can literally lift the language directly off this page and again continue to craft their own value propositions that are going to resonate with their buyers. We also recommend using homeowner testimonials and real-life experiences whenever possible. So to the greatest extent that builders can gather those from previous home buyers, that really helps. Or even from your own staff. One of our builder partners, Kettler Four Lines Homes here in Metro DC, they are also a previous Leader Award winner, and when we visited them a couple years ago, I met with one of their sales agents who just emphasized how much he really loves to come to work in this Indoor Air Plus sales model because he has asthma, and he feels so much better at work than when he actually goes back home. So those are great, great experiences to draw from and to utilize in your marketing whenever you can. Again, we emphasize to builders, you're not making any guarantees that your buyers are automatically going to become healthier when they buy your home, but instead say our company's really made its best effort to provide you with a safer, healthier, more durable home to move into, and here's how we did it, following EPA specifications with Indoor Air Plus.
That's great, Nick. Thanks. And we'll touch on some of those examples specifically a little later in the presentation. In fact, coming up in this section, which is what's working. And I think Nick gave a good summary of some of the things that EPA and Indoor Air Plus are doing to help builders, and some examples of what builders are doing with that information and those tools. So I wanted to go into a couple of examples from builders that we did talk to, and Nick was nice enough to help us find these 5 builders. All of these are Indoor Air Plus Leader Award winners over the past year or 2 or 3 in some cases. We had Dennis Webb from Fulton Homes there near the bottom speak at our Innovation Summit in Denver on indoor air quality and what Fulton Homes is doing in that regard, and had again a great discussion from that. But we also wanted to talk to other builders who are engaging the program and seeing results from it. So one important thing to understand is how builders get into this, and it's not just one way, although certainly EPA through Energy Star and the DOE Net Zero Energy Ready Home Program, the Challenge Home Program, are certainly easy ways to get into the Air Plus program, but there are others, and other reasons why builders engage in healthful homes, building to a higher standard there. One, Bill Bullock from C&B Construction and Gray Fox Ridge in Arizona. Basically, back in 2008, 2009, as many builders can sympathize with or empathize with, we're just trying to stay afloat. And so he was looking for a way to compete against a pretty aggressive foreclosure market, and turned to Energy Star and Indoor Air Plus and even higher standards to do that. And so he incorporated that into how he builds. And then a little bit more recently, Thrive Home Builders rebranded itself as Thrive and wanted to showcase health. And we'll go through a little bit what Thrive is doing a little later. So there are other ways to do it. We had Habitat in St. Louis had an opportunity to leverage some grant money if you know anything about Habitat, you know that they rely on donations and no interest mortgage loans and things like that. So budgets are pretty tight. So when they have an opportunity to get money, they take advantage of it if they can. But that grant money was tied to building to a higher standard, and they recognized as they were doing that there were some redundancies with inspections regarding indoor air plus, indoor air quality. So they decided just to incorporate it since they were kind of going down that road already. Mandalay Homes, also in the Arizona market, is a preferred builder for the city of Phoenix, and they were doing a low-income housing workout project for the city, and the city asked them to come up with something that would be distinctive for that project as they worked it out, and specifically suggested things like Energy Star or LEED, and so Mandalay got into that, and then again, like Habitat, incorporated those standards, including indoor air plus, into their standard practice. And then Nick mentioned Meritage. They do a great job, and they are an indoor plus, EPA indoor plus builder. But they also have recently announced a proprietary indoor air quality protocol, or more of a partnership with one of their suppliers who supplies a system of indoor air quality products, and they're going to kind of co-brand that with them. So they're kind of taking a proprietary look at it, as does TriPoint, which acquired Pardee Homes a while back, and Pardee had a great program called Living Smart, which they incorporated into their standard practice, and now TriPoint is doing that across all of their builder brands to incorporate that, and specifically or including the Health Smart aspect of that. And then there's local and other proprietary programs that promote healthy homes, and certainly, again, several avenues to get into it. I want to touch on cost here. I know that's a question and a concern that most builders have. What is it going to cost for me to get into indoor air quality and specifically indoor air plus? Again, Dennis Webb from Fulton in Denver was, when we were in Denver, was talking about how he estimates his premium to add indoor air plus is about $100 a house. And if you're already building to Energy Star or a similar standard or greater. And that was backed up by the other folks I talked to. Kyle at Habitat in St. Louis was talking about how the cost is negligible for them compared to the value and the awareness it brings to their homeowners, and also to the pool of donors that they look to fund their operations. It's a great marketing tool simply to be building to that, not just for the people that live in the home, but for others in his market who may consider donating to Habitat. And then at Mandalay, they were talking about it. Jeff Farrell there was talking to me about, always looking for products that fit into a larger system, that multitask, and that way the premium to incorporate them really starts to go down. And this is a quote that Bill Bullock from Gray Fox Ridge had when we talked. He's even, he doesn't charge a premium, doesn't cost him anything to do it, and so he's just happy to break even on it and happy to deliver that kind of performance to his homeowners. And again, Kyle at Habitat St. Louis told me that, in Habitat's case, they don't think about first cost. They think about the cost that it's going to be to their home buyers, their homeowners, who have to maintain and perhaps repair or replace certain products, certain finishes, especially. So while it might be cheaper for them to put in a carpet, they put in hard surface flooring. It costs them more to do, but it's a lesser cost for their homeowners to maintain and perhaps replace.
If I could jump in, Rich, sure. We get asked this question all the time as well. What's, for builders who haven't gotten into Indoor Air Plus yet, what's it going to cost me? And it's really hard. We don't have like a strict cost analysis that we can provide them with, because it is so dependent on where you're building, your climate zone, your radon zone, and kind of what your code and standard practice is for your company to begin with. But we conservatively estimate, could be a couple to few $100s, could be a couple $1,000s, depending on where your baseline is and where you're starting. But really what we find is that the most cost is really in your time and an effort to kind of think through the checklist, walk through the checklist, and figure out which things you're missing. oftentimes builders find that they're doing a lot of these practices already. Maybe they have to refigure some of their design elements, or maybe upgrade their HVAC filter and work with their HVAC contractor to do that. Maybe they have to go to their suppliers and ask for a couple different things as far as low emission products that are going to go into the home. But really what it comes down to is a little bit of extra time and effort, and we all value our time and should, but we also put a lot of time and effort into marketing in general. And so if you think of it from that standpoint of trying to redesign and refigure your design and construction principles as a marketing approach, you can see those costs in that regard.
Right. That's a great point, Nick. Thanks. And yeah, Dennis's example was, again, he was at a certain point in a certain market, at a certain price point for their homes where that was his premium, what they got to once they incorporated the practices and specs for Indoor Air Plus. And not that they didn't have to go down certain roads to find, like you said, spend the time to go find products that would suit that program and the certification, but ultimately his cost that he could estimate was that. And I think that, like you said, it's different for every builder, but it really is about time and how you kind of approach it. So another thing that I wanted to bring up in terms of marketing, and we'll kind of play off of this, but we've got a group of homeowners, home buyers, people that are in the housing market who are much more health conscious. There's a much higher level of consumer awareness and demand for healthy things, whether it's food or wellness or cleanliness, and it's something that builders can certainly play off of, are playing off of, and we'll go into a couple of examples of that. But there is this greater access to information and resources about healthy living, and certainly housing and homes are part of that. So one of the things I wanted to play off was that maybe you were curious about this photo when I showed it before, but this isn't the photo, but it's a representative photo of what Thrive Home builders are doing in the Denver market with their healthy home messaging. Gene Myers there, and I talked, and Gene was like, we went out and we found everything we could about healthy homes. We engaged programs like Indoor Air Plus. We gathered up a lot of stuff, but what ultimately it boiled down to when we went to put that message in our design center was basically an image of a baby being fed by its mom and a caption that reads akin to "the air she breathes is just as important as the food she eats." And that plays off of what I just mentioned, which is a contingent of home buyers, increasing contingent of home buyers who are living or trying to live more healthful lives. And so you really, in Gene's mind, you don't have to convince that mom that indoor air is a healthy indoor air is akin to healthy food or healthy living. It's just letting her know that Thrive and others who use the same kind of tactic are in tune with that and provide that kind of value, that kind of feature. And then, as Nick mentioned, testimonials are a great tool if you have folks in your homes that are benefiting from it, see the value, see the appreciation for it. At Habitat in St. Louis, they do post videos of their homeowners who are living in their healthy homes and let them tell their story. And again, not to overscript them, but really it's a powerful message when a homeowner says that they appreciate what is being done to create a more healthful indoor environment. And then Jeff Farrell at Mandalay was telling me that he goes into having what he calls silent sellers within his model homes, where he doesn't overtly kind of bang over the head of buyers who come into the sales center. What he does is as they do a self-guided tour through his models, there are placards throughout the house, and this is not uncommon certainly, but those placards include features and benefits of the home throughout, but including messaging about the healthy home and indoor air quality aspects that Mandalay builds into their homes. So that if that resonates with the buyers, they come back to the sales center after their tour, and they can bring up that topic if it's interesting to them, if they saw something in the home that sparked an interest, and they can have a conversation with the sales agent about that. And the sales agents, to Nick's point earlier, are trained to have a good working knowledge of what's happening and be able to articulate that. And then if they need more, certainly Mandalay and other builders have access to deeper information. And Jeff at Mandalay also shares information. He's monitoring the indoor air quality equipment in about 4 of his homes, including a model, and he shares that data with his homeowners, which has proved to be fairly effective. I wanted to go a little deeper into what Thrive is doing in Denver and Stapleton, and they've got an interesting program as they roll out their branding and roll out this commitment to healthy homes. So what they've done is they've got a 3-tier approach to healthy homes, and it includes all of the 3 different series that they have at Denver Stapleton, which is a massive master plan community in the old Stapleton Airport land. And so they've got the first product, which is an attached product, single-family row houses. These are their Element series, and it sells for under $200,000, which is kind of unheard of at Stapleton and Denver, Denver generally. But they've come up with this plan and this price point, and these are all Indoor Air Plus qualified homes. They also include a formaldehyde absorbing drywall product that they found through one of their supply chains, and also a radon mitigation system. And Denver is one of those markets that's in what EPA calls Zone 1 for radon. So there is a consumer awareness and concern about that, and so all of Thrive's homes in Stapleton will have a radon mitigation system. So the next up is the Vita line, and that's begins selling in the low 500s. They have that tier 1 that the Elements tier had, plus an ERV and some balanced ventilation, and then more advanced filtration. So they take that tier 1 and they up the ante just a little bit. And then in tier 3, which is their Panacea line, which begins selling in the mid-800s, they've got the first 2 tiers, so from Elements and Vita, and then they add source control above the Indoor Air Plus requirements. And then as Gene Myers mentioned when we talked about this, that this is the line where they can truly customize the home to specific chemical sensitivities. So if a buyer comes in with a particular issue, they can address that in that line. I also wanted to kind of show you what Thrive is doing online. So we can kind of hopefully bring up their website. So as you can see at the top, they've got healthy as a main menu item right next to find your new home. So it's very prominent, clearly a message they want to get across. And then they have this very I don't want to say simple. It's very efficient. And again, back to the photo of the baby, you don't, as Gene said, you don't want to give them a fire hose. You want to give them the messaging that really resonate. So this is their website, and they talk about specific issues that folks in the Denver area in Colorado would be concerned about. So certainly radon being one of them, mold, and then formaldehyde and other off-gassing products, and that's basically it. But it's a very effective, very prominent way to market what you do, and Thrive, I think, is near the forefront, if not at the forefront of doing that. Okay. Oops, hold on. Okay, and then Nick mentioned training, and he did a great overview of training. I think I'll just emphasize again that it's important to train, and the builders that we talk to are training top to bottom. So from design through warranty, the folks that serve their warranties, certainly design, construction, sales, and again down to after and post occupancy services. And this is a photo of the group at Fulton Homes watching a video that Nick's group produces and provides to them as an Indoor Air Plus builder. And again, this is a group of salespeople, of design folks, construction folks. Again, getting into what's making sure that they know the high level at least, and if they need to know deeper levels, they can get to it. So you've built this great house. You've considered consumer demand, you've considered what it's going to take from a cost standpoint, you've gone through the process of specifying and purchasing and installing and verifying that these products are great, and then you let the homeowners loose. This is a quote from Jeff Farrell at Mandalay that, a well-built house is great until people start living in it. And I think, when you talk about indoor air quality and environmental quality, there are some things that homeowners do once they get in the house that really a builder doesn't control. And I think we'll talk about this a little bit and then get into the risk mitigation issue. So a couple of things that occupants do that tend to undermine indoor air quality is they have pets, pet dander, any dirt that a pet might bring in if it goes outside, other kind of something that might be attached to the pet. We love our pets, but they do and can undermine indoor air quality, and that's again just something that a builder can't control but needs to be aware of. Another thing is just the daily lives we live in our house: cooking, showering, cleaning, just the daily activities. These can undermine or affect the indoor air quality of a house. You get into the furnishings and finishes that homeowners bring into the home. Clearly, a builder is not responsible for that. But as Gene Meyer at Thrive said, one cheap rug from Target can undo a lot of what we do to bring a healthy home benefit to the house. So just know that's again something that builders aren't involved in typically. But it does happen, and it will happen, and there's ways to educate your home buyers about some of these things. And then the last thing is, just opening windows to the outdoors. As I mentioned at the top, overall or generally, indoor air is less healthy than the outdoor air, maybe 5 times less healthy. But if you're building to this standard, and Jeff at Mandalay has done some monitoring with a very simple monitor on some of this equipment, he knows that the homes he builds, at least when he delivers the home, the indoor air is far more healthy than the outdoor air in his market. So when you throw open the windows, you're basically undermining that effort. And he tells builders, or tells homeowners or home buyers, if he didn't have to put operable windows in their houses, he wouldn't, that the ERV that he provides delivers far fresher air than what they get from opening a window. So let's talk a little bit about risk mitigation, because as we've talked about, you've done this effort. Now the homeowners are living in the home and perhaps doing some things that undermine what you've done to deliver a healthy home. How do you kind of navigate that? And I think Nick gave a great couple of points about how the Indoor Air Plus program does that. And we'll go a little deeper. Again, Nick's point was, the language that you use, the relationship that you have with these home buyers. If you have a close relationship, if you cultivate a good relationship, and you're able to have honest conversations about this, you can't tell them that the home's going to be, that they'll be healthier if they live in this home. Not just because of occupant behavior, but just because you don't know what they're coming in with, and you don't know what their situation is. But you can have a conversation about what you do and what you do to improve indoor air quality. And use terms like, Sam Rashkin, who I think most of us know from First Energy Star, and now he's with DOE and the Net Zero program, calls it healthful ready. And I think whether you like that term or not, it kind of summarizes what a lot of these builders are saying and what Nick is saying, which is you're delivering what Jeff calls an asset. I'm giving you this healthful home, and then what you do with it is really up to you, and I can help make sure that you can maintain that healthful ready status. So some of the things that folks are doing, Habitat in St. Louis, they're pre-filtering all the indoor air during construction, they're gasketing and fastening their vent registers, and they don't allow smoking on the job site. And they use the lever of the Indoor Air Plus program to say, hey, look, we're building to this standard, so we need you to, if you're going to smoke, you need to smoke far away from the job site. And because of that reasoning, it's a lot easier, they found, to get, whether it's workers or volunteers or anybody, to step away and respect that. And then again, both Jeff at Mandalay and Gene at Thrive talked about, no matter what you do, you're not saying no matter what you do in this house, it's going to be healthy. What you're saying is, I'm delivering to this standard, and that's kind of where you leave it as a builder. So you're not guaranteeing any certain performance standard or metric. You're not claiming it's going to reduce any symptoms. So again, you can deliver what you're in charge of, and then give fair warning to the buyers about where that responsibility ends. So all this rolled up, we want to talk about some results. Clearly, there's a need to show results, return on investment, if you will, return on the effort that you put in. Habitat in St. Louis is seeing and hearing from their homeowners about some of the sensitivities and allergy and asthma issues that they have getting better, and the fact that their approach reduces the cost of maintaining a house, increases the affordability month to month of those homes. So they're seeing those kind of results. And they attribute it back to building to this higher performance standard. It's also now their standard practice in St. Louis at Habitat. It doesn't matter what the budget is. It doesn't matter what the situation is. If they're building a new house for a family in St. Louis, they're adhering to these standards regardless of that, regardless of budget. And then at Mandalay, they're seeing a huge upsurge in interest among their home buyers in healthy homes. They're more interested in healthy home, Jeff says, than saving energy. And I think that that's an important distinction and something that we recognize the Alliance as we talk about comfort and health, beyond energy efficiency as the standard for new homes. And again, like Habitat at Mandalay, it's a non-negotiable aspect of their business, even for custom. If they get someone who says, hey, I don't really want this, can you take it out? It's a deal breaker, according to Jeff. And then again, Bill Bullock with Gray Fox Ridge and C&B Construction, they used to initiate conversation about healthy homes with their buyers to get them educated, but now people are seeking them out. He's got builders who are coming, or buyers who are coming from markets outside of his to have found him because of the efforts that he's making in this respect, and asking his company to build homes for them.
Rich, another note on the homeowner education piece and the risk management piece. I like to think of the homeowner education process as a process and as part of kind of a management circle, and not just one point on, part of the marketing circle, not just one point on a marketing circle, but a process that involves multiple steps. And it starts when your homeowner walks into the door, into the sales office, and you start to educate them a little bit about what you do. And then if you're lucky enough to earn their business, you educate them further when you hand over the keys, through homeowner information packets, talking through the details of the systems in their home. And then there's, a warranty process, a check-in process that oftentimes happens, and different builders do that different ways, 30, 90 days, maybe 6 months, maybe a year out. You have other opportunities along your engagement with them to engage, check in, see how they're maintaining their home, see what feedback they have that they can provide, what concerns they have. But again, other opportunities to gain kind of testimonials from what's working, what's not, and then filter that back into your marketing plan and your strategy for design.
Right, those are great points, Nick. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it is a process. It's not just one thing, and it's not just about protecting yourself, although that's important. It's really about having this ongoing relationship with your buyers, and for both benefit of the builder and them.
Hey guys,
so we've got,
can I interrupt you for a second? We've got a couple of timely questions,
Sure.
A statement and then 2 questions. The statement was, when we were talking about costs, to look at the total cost not only to own but live in an energy efficient and healthy home. The initial investment is far outweighed by the benefits. So, thinking about, looking at it and communicating it in terms of some of the softer, more unquantifiable benefits, perhaps they could like living in a healthy home, but I think they may mean, so if you have asthma, how is that reduced? How is perhaps the amount of time from work that you lose reduced, or your need for medicine reduced, or other treatment, and what those benefits might be. That was the statement. And then 2 questions. One is directed at you, Nick, and the other one is kind of more general. The first is, You talked about a couple of examples of what people are doing. You showed the video, you showed a still of the video from Habitat. But are there links that we might be able to provide to people who are on the phone, members of the Alliance, that actually might direct them to go look at some of those testimonials themselves? They can see kind of what they feel like, how they're packaged. So that's the first question. And then the second is the EPA developing marketing or training materials to educate homeowners about behaviors and their impact on healthy homes? So I'm going to throw those two questions out to you guys to see, what your take is on that.
Great questions. I will do my best to provide a couple links here before the webinar is over for some resources that people can go to kind of see some of the sales and marketing materials. The question regarding homeowner education, we are currently working on a kind of homeowner education packet that would be a template that builders could utilize to try to help communicate the key important features of a home after the home buyer moves in. Some of those things, again, are lifestyle based, but some of them are just basic fundamentals of how you operate your home and schedules for maintenance and those sorts of things. And obviously those will be different from builder to builder depending on what you install. And so we are working on a format and a template that we hope to have out sometime this year to provide to builders. So I'll follow up with some additional links too.
Great. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Betsy, for integrating that.
And there are two other things related to that. A comment from Sam Rashkin. Thanks, Sam. Wellness Within Your Walls has an excellent education program for how homeowners can live for better health within their homes. And then I was just going to mention we've partnered in the past with Lawrence Berkeley National Labs, who connected to SAM and the DOE program as well, and they look at indoor environmental quality, so they have some good information on what people are doing within their homes that is a detriment to indoor air quality. So those are two other good resources that we'll certainly provide some links to as well. I'll turn the floor back over to you guys. That's all we've got on this end for now.
Okay, great. Thanks, Betsy.
Great.
So we've got some terrific builders that we've talked to that Nick's well aware of and working with. It doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. So they were gracious enough to admit that and give us some examples of some things that they've learned. I think when I talked to Kyle at Habitat in St. Louis, the one thing that he kind of cautioned against or wanted to make sure builders knew about it who are looking at this is that you need to find some smart people, some more sophisticated, perhaps knowledgeable tradespeople, subs and trade partners in your market. He was adamant about saying you can't know more about this than they do. When you get down to the equipment specs and integrating these products into effective systems, design of that equipment, making sure that it's working properly and performs properly. So try to, if you have to, either get your subs up to speed and your suppliers up to speed, or go find somebody who's already specializing in this or has a good knowledge base for this. When we talked to both Bill and Jeff, they had issues with sharing the distribution system of their central air system with their ERV. And what they ended up doing, because the ERV airflow wasn't able to push through the entire central air system, the entire duct system for their central air system, they ended up doing separate systems for those ERVs. It was fine when the cooling or heating air was blowing from the furnace or the air conditioner and the ERV air was getting through, but because they built such a high energy standard and performance standard, the air conditioning and heating was coming on less and less, so the ERV air just wasn't getting to it. So they came up with separate systems for those and strategies that help deliver what they're intending to deliver in terms of fresh air through an ERV. And then Gene at Thrive again, avoid the fire hose of information for home buyers. Don't neglect the hydrant. Fill the hydrant with as much data and information as you can, so that if they do ask for more depth, you can provide that, but you don't need to turn on the hose and throw it all at them at once. Let them come to you, be prepared, and give them simple messaging that resonates. One thing that Jeff did mention, he had a situation at Mandalay with a third-party design center that they were working with, and a buyer came in to select carpet. The salesperson wasn't as educated about the certified carpet versus the non-certified carpet. Let them choose a non-certified carpet. It went all the way through purchasing up until installation, where his installation contractor noticed that it was not a compliant carpet material. So they had to go back and have the homeowner select a different spec. A little bit of an inconvenience, but it kind of speaks to educating your entire team, top to bottom, so they understand the how and the why, and buy into it, so that they will do that, and you won't run into some of those issues. I want to go very briefly into what suppliers are doing, and I know, Nick, you've got some slides here, but we're running a little short on time. I want to make sure we get to some questions if they are at the end, and some of the things that we're doing to follow up with this. But suppliers play a critical role in this, and they have been playing a critical role. And like I said, either supporting or in some cases leading the charge. So some of the things that we're seeing from suppliers of indoor air quality and energy consuming products, they're just getting better at it. They're getting better at designing their products, the more reliable performance, durability. All that speaks to kind of what Betsy mentioned in the comment or the question that they have, which was, if you provide better products, there's benefits that extend beyond simply the cost of that product, and into repair, replacement, even into whether you're spending as much on medication or treatment for some of your symptoms. Again, not something you guarantee, but something that, again, we've seen builders say is happening. Suppliers are doing a great job with filtration, amping up that, and we're seeing some improvements in range hoods specifically, where they've been a little lacking. I think Gene at Thrive mentioned that he's still looking for the range hood that he wants to put in his homes. He's got one, but he's not real happy with it, so he's looking for additional or better products there. But they are making improvements there. And then source control, products that do not off-gas, don't have VOCs, formaldehyde, other things that they're not polluting the indoor air, creating situations where you have to filter it or ventilate it out. More choices of compliant products, just again more in the market. A couple of builders I talked to are saying, there was a time 5-10 years ago where it was more difficult to find products that were compliant. Now it's a much larger pool from a lot of different vendors. So they're seeing it's much easier and, again, more affordable to do that. Excuse me here. They provide technical and design assistance. They've got people there that can talk the talk and walk the walk, and are able to help builders get to where they need to be. They provide systems, not just disparate products, but they put it into an integrated system that performs better than the individual parts. And then they're incorporating connectivity, and it's one of the reasons Meritage went with one of their suppliers to come up with somewhat proprietary program for indoor air quality, is that there was a connectivity aspect, and that's both to give data back to these suppliers so that they can continually improve their products, monitor how people are using them, monitor how they're performing, service issues, things like that, but also data to the builder and even data up to the homeowner to see how the home is performing overall and specific to indoor air quality. So I'm going to turn it over to Nick, and Nick's got a couple of points about what they're doing at Indoor Air Plus with regards to the supply side.
Great, thanks, Rich. Yeah, source control, ventilation, and filtration. Those you mentioned those. Those are kind of the 3 recommended strategies towards IAQ. And when it comes to source control, the products that we put in our homes are the key element here. We want to keep the bad stuff out to begin with. EPA has not yet developed a program for the labeling of healthier building products in the same way that we've done for energy efficient or water efficient products such as Energy Star and Water Sense. There is a great EPA program called Safer Choice, which is primarily geared towards safer consumer cleaning products, but again, these largely don't impact the building industry. So instead, for the low emission materials that are required for indoor air plus homes, EPA has generally referenced consensus-based standards, as well as some other third-party labeling and certification programs that you see there that are readily available in the market. So to help builders find these products, Indoor Air Plus has created a resource that outlines the various standards and labels in the construction specs. There's 3 primary classes of products that are in the specs now, and they are carpets, composite wood materials, and interior paints and finishes. And likely in the future we'll be including low emission adhesives and hard surface flooring down the road. Those are also now readily available in the marketplace. Good low emission alternatives that you can find. And we've seen many manufacturers getting their products certified to a variety of these standards or programs. What's great for builders is that they can include these in their spec sheets, and then when they're working with suppliers getting bids for materials, they can reference those third-party labels. To help builders find these products, we have this resource called How to Find Indoor Air Plus Compliant Low Emission Products. So this is available on our website. If you're just getting into Indoor Air Plus, I highly recommend that you use this alongside with the construction specifications and the checklist to kind of help you walk through what's there, what's available, and what you need. It's good to note that just because a manufacturer claims that their product is low VOC or no VOC, it doesn't mean that the product complies with Indoor Air Plus. It still has to meet one of those underlying standards or those third-party certifications. And some of these third-party certifications and standards are content-based, some are emission-based. So they're not all alike. They're not necessarily apples to apples. Some of them are VOC content by weight, others are VOCs emitted. Nonetheless, the ones that are referenced here in this resource have third-party criteria to follow rather than just ordinary proprietary manufacturing claim that goes along with it. So again, just a little bit of planning, you should be able to easily find these on the market. We also highly recommend that the builder and the home energy rater work together on the front end to identify the products that will be used. This will ultimately help streamline the verification process upon completion, and we've seen some great examples of raters working with their builders to kind of iron those details out early on, and it really makes for a much more successful implementation. And then kind of bringing this back full circle to the marketing discussion that we had earlier, I think it's really important to use your design approach to educate your sales staff, educate them about these features, these low emission products, what it means for source control, and then of course the benefits ultimately that you can transfer to the homeowner, feeling more comfortable, having fresher air in the home, potentially even long-term health benefits as well. So, and if you build all your Indoor Air Plus homes to Indoor Air Plus, there's a 100% commitment that you can elect as well. A new opportunity that's available this year with a logo for those builders. So feel free to check that out on the Indoor Air Plus website. And I'm passing along some links to Betsy as well to give to all attendees where you can find those resources.
Great, thanks, Nick. Betsy, are there any other questions that we've had since the last round?
There are. Before we do a couple of those, I just want to make sure we let you know of a couple of other upcoming events that are going to be going on through the Alliance that are live, that we've got scheduled for one-day events, 3 roundtables, August, September, and November of this year. And then our Innovation Summit is scheduled for April of next year. So we'll be sure to send a link to you guys with this information in case any of these other topics are of interest to you. And if you're not currently a member, we'll send you a link for that as well to apply to become a member in the Alliance. We're always looking for great builders and innovators to join us. And then I will stop the plugging and I will plug in those questions here, the 3 that we've got. So the first 2 together.
Well, I'm sorry, Betsy, just before you jump in, so we're running up against the top of the hour, and we'll continue on to answer these questions for anybody who wants to stay on. Right. But So we'll keep going. We're not going to cut it off. We're going to get these questions answered. But if you want to stick with us, feel free. If not, thank you very much for joining us. And we will provide you with a recording of this and let you know where it lives on our website. Thank you.
Great. And if you happen to be one of the people asking the questions, we'll make sure that we send you the response directly through email as well if you really need to jump off right now. But the first two questions are related to each other, really about testing data. This builder has begun testing particle counts in the 10, 5, 2.5, 0.5, and 0.3 micron ranges in their indoor air plus homes versus existing and code-built homes in an effort to quantify the air quality in an IAP home versus a non-IAP home. Is there any data available that has been collected on IAP homes compared to others to date?
Great question. That's exciting to hear. We do not have that data yet, and so I'd be happy to talk with that person and hear more about what they're doing. You know, this is still an emerging opportunity, and when we now see sensors out there on the market that are becoming more and more cost effective, we'll be seeing these opportunities in the next few years very, very readily. So great opportunity. Looking forward to hearing more from that person.
Okay, and this is the same person, and my guess is your answer is the same. I just wanted to get the question out, what they were asking about. So they also began testing VOCs and MVOCs versus existing and code built. So likely there isn't data available there, but they could talk to you about that as well. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and you know, VOCs and particles are going to work a little bit differently after the home is occupied. There's probably going to be a lot more particles stirred up. Eventually, VOCs will probably start to moderate or tail off at some point. The longer you're capturing that data, obviously, the better if you can work with your homeowners to do that.
A couple easy things here. Someone asked for contact information for me, Rich, and Nick, so no problem. We'll get that to everybody who's on the line today. The next question is, what role is the EPA playing in educating realtors and appraisers about the value and benefits of healthy homes, indoor air quality, and indoor air plus?
Great question, and I would say that we probably have not done a whole lot of outreach with the realty and appraisal sectors to date. At least, certainly not since I've been here at EPA or been working with the program. I think that's an area that we could certainly increase opportunities. I do know that Indoor Air Plus is referenced in the addendum that appraisers can use to value the energy efficiency and kind of green features of homes. So it is in there. There's a chance to kind of utilize that in appraisals. But we do look forward to working more in those sectors.
I don't know, and you beat me to the punch because I was going to mention that as well. I don't know if you are familiar with Sandy Automatis from the Appraisal Institute, but she does quite a bit of education in the field for appraisers and realtors on green, on the green and energy efficient addendum and related topics. So I'm not sure if you've reached out to her yet, but I'll certainly connect you with her, Nick. I think you guys would be great resources for each other and might be able to address this question that we just got here. So I'll connect you with her as well. And then the final question that we've got before we wrap up, and thanks for staying on the line, folks, is will the Indoor Air Plus logo ever end up on materials? Our field staff and most of our sub-offices understand what products need to be used, but sub-crews normally do not know, and easier labeling would make compliance easier.
Great question. I'd never like to say never, but certainly given the budget constraints that we've had recently and potentially might have down the road as well, I don't think that we'll be rolling out a program for labeling of products or materials anytime in the very near future. Certainly I can see the value and benefit to the industry to integrate those into Indoor Air Plus homes, but again, that's kind of why we've relied a little bit on third-party standards and third-party certifications for the time being. But great point to bring up. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's the last question that we had today, but as I said, we'll send the slide deck to you guys. We'll send contact information for Rich and Nick, and thank you guys both for putting this together today. But we'll be sure to send that to you, as well as contact information for myself and the rest of the Alliance team. If you have any further questions that you weren't able to ask today, Nick is part of our Comfort and Health Program Council and has been a great resource to us. And certainly Rich is one of our teammates, so we'd be happy to see what we can do to address questions after today's session as well. But if you guys don't have anything else for the good of the order at the end, I would just like to thank everybody for participating and hope to connect with you again soon.
Great, thanks, Betsy. Yes, thank you all for joining us. And thanks to Nick.
Thank you.
Okay, and the links will be sent to you guys by email. That was one last thing that just came through. We'll send those to you as follow-up by email. Thanks so much.